Hello and welcome to Damnable Delvings, where we delve into the damnable world of media. Today's media of choice is that of cyberpunk movies. But what is cyberpunk, you ask, if somehow you were born under a rock and have no idea? Well, let me explain it to you very quickly. Cyberpunk is a particular genre of fiction which began in the late 20th century. It was born from the collision of rapid technological growth and growing social unease, and it first took root in the 1980s, a time of neon lights, Cold War paranoia and corporate expansion. Writers like William Gibson, whose novel Neuromancer defined the genre, imagined near futures where hackers, megacorporations and artificial intelligences ruled the streets and cyberspace. But its DNA goes back further. Philip K. Dick, Blade Runner, even punk rock's anti-authoritarian spirit. Cyberpunk asked, what happens when technology evolves faster than society? And the answer is high-tech worlds full of digital dreams, surveillance states, dystopia, and anti-heroes fighting to survive. Here now is my list of 14 movies that I think fit the cyberpunk aesthetic in one way or another. Some are better than others, but all are worth watching, and a couple are my personal favourites. So sit down, jack in, and get ready to enter the world of cyberpunk. Blade Runner isn't just a film, it's the blueprint of cinematic cyberpunk. Released in 1982 and directed by Ridley Scott, it dropped audiences into a terrifying future, 2019 in Los Angeles, a city drenched in neon, rain and existential dread. Inspired by Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the story follows Rick Deckard, a weary ex-cop tasked with hunting down rogue replicants, artificial humans built for off-world labour. But Blade Runner goes far deeper than a sci-fi chase. It's a haunting meditation on identity, memory, and what it truly means to be human. The replicants, especially Roy Batty, aren't just villains. They're tragic, soulful echoes of our own fears about mortality and obsolescence. Visually, Blade Runner defined the cyberpunk aesthetic, towering megacities, omnipresent advertisements, technology that outpaces morality. It's a world of high-tech and low-life where corporate power eclipses governments and people lose themselves in artificial dreams. The legacy of Blade Runner continued in Blade Runner 2049, a sequel that expanded the mythology while keeping the same slow burn, philosophical tone. A new follow-up series, Blade Runner 2099, is also on the horizon, proving this dystopian vision is as relevant now as it ever was. Blade Runner didn't just predict the future, it became the future. And in doing so, it helped define the soul of cyberpunk. Blade Runner is definitely one of my favourite films. And now here's something a little bit less well known, Max Headroom, 20 minutes into the future. Before Max Headroom became an icon of 1980s television, he starred in a short Channel 4 film called 20 Minutes into the Future, a cyberpunk satire which turned out to be disturbingly prophetic. Set in a dystopian world dominated by megacorporations and non-stop television, it followed Edison Carter, a hard-nosed reporter who accidentally has his consciousness copied into an AI, the stuttering, wisecracking digital host known as Max Headroom. Later, this short film spawned an American TV series, but the British film that originally set it off is still the best. Highly recommended, especially if you've never seen it before. RoboCop. Released in 1987 and directed by Paul Verhoeven, it might look like a gritty action movie, but underneath that shiny helmet it's pure cyberpunk. Set in a decaying Detroit where corporations have replaced government, crime is rampant, and the media numbs the masses with cheery violence, RoboCop tells the story of Alex Murphy, a good cop brutally gunned down and resurrected as a corporate-owned cyborg enforcer. He's part man, part machine, and he is caught in the battle for his own soul. Cyberpunk thrives on themes of dehumanization, corporate control, and technological overreach, and RoboCop hits all of them with brutal precision. Omni Consumer Products, the mega corporation behind Murphy's transformation, doesn't just make machines, it commodifies lives, privatizes justice, and owns the very idea of law and order. Visually, it's a dystopia dipped in chrome, industrial decay, brutalist architecture, and a city teetering between future and ruin. But underneath the satire, RoboCop is a Frankenstein tale about memory, identity, and resistance. It asks, when flesh is gone and all that remains is metal, is there a person still inside? Here now we have the first animated film on my list. However, exploding onto our screens in 1988, Akira is not just a masterpiece of animation, it is a defining work of global cyberpunk, and a masterpiece in its own right. It brought us Neo-Tokyo, a city built on the ruins of an apocalypse, seething with political unrest, biker gangs, psychic experiments, and the cold hum of the military-industrial complex. The story follows a pair of bikers, Kaneda and his childhood friend, Tetsuo, who gains destructive psychic powers after a government-controlled experiment goes wrong. What starts as a street-level rebellion spirals into a cosmic meltdown of power, mutation, and physical body horror. Akira captures the heart of cyberpunk, a world where the future is broken, authority is corrupt, and technology mutates flesh and mind alike. The neon streets blaze beneath totalitarian floodlights. Kids rage against a system they barely understand, and beneath all of that, something is awakening. Its animation was revolutionary, hand-drawn in jaw-dropping detail, and its themes echo cyberpunk's core: identity collapse, the cost of power, the decay of cities, and the danger of unchecked progress. Akira didn't just influence anime, it reshaped sci-fi itself, inspiring everything from The Matrix to Cyberpunk 2077. Even now, decades later, its psychic scream still echoes through the neon ruins of the genre. From 1990 we have Hardware, directed by Richard Stanley. This is a savage, low-budget gem that blends post-apocalyptic horror with grimy cyberpunk grit. Set in a radiation-scorched future where society clings to life inside the metal carcasses of dead cities, the story begins when a scavenger brings home the head of a broken combat droid to his artist girlfriend. Unfortunately, that droid, a Mark 13 warbot, isn't quite as dead as it looks. What follows is a claustrophobic descent into chaos as the machine reactivates, rebuilds itself, and begins a brutal killing spree inside a tiny, rusted apartment. Hardware fits snugly into the cyberpunk mould, a crumbling world ruled by corporations, surveillance, pollution, and despair. The government is absent, the media is brain-rotting junk, and salvation is nowhere in sight. The film's aesthetic is pure scrapyard apocalypse: scorched metal, red lighting, static-filled broadcasts, and industrial noise. What really makes Hardware stand out, though, is its low-budget punk rock heart. It's angry, raw, and dripping with anti-authoritarian energy. It's about a machine that won't die, the system that won't stop, and the people who are left behind to scream. It may not be as polished as Blade Runner, but Hardware bleeds cyberpunk from every rusted seam, a junkyard vision of our future set to a thundering, nihilistic beat. Great soundtrack, great film. From 1995 we have Johnny Mnemonic. Johnny Mnemonic was adapted from a short story by William Gibson, the neuromancer-penning godfather of cyberpunk himself. Starring a pre-Matrix Keanu Reeves, it tells the story of a courier who stores data inside his own head and finds himself on the run when what he's carrying out turns to be, well, 1, just a bit above his pay grade, and 2, dangerously beyond his neural storage capacity. Set in a gritty, chaotic 2021, oh dear. The world of Johnny Mnemonic is peak cyberpunk. Megacorporations rule from glass towers, the poor are sick with nerve-attacking technological diseases, and information is currency. Literally. Hackers, street doctors, cybernetic yakuza assassins, and even a psychic dolphin trained by the Navy fill out a world that's as absurd as it is prophetic. The film is a beautiful mess, overloaded with wild concepts, clunky exposition, and neon-drenched style. But beneath its chaotic surface lies classic cyberpunk DNA, questions about identity, the price of progress, and how much of yourself you'll give up to survive in a world that treats humans like hard drives. It's not perfect, but Johnny Mnemonic is a digital artifact of a time when the future looked wired, weird, and just around the corner. It's a strange and glitchy piece of art from the neon-lit fringe. Johnny Mnemonic is probably the weakest of the films that I have chosen, and yet, weirdly enough, it's the one that, for me, meets the visual aesthetic of cyberpunk most as I imagined it in the late 80s and early 90s. Also from 1995 we have Ghost in the Shell, our second animated film on this list. It emerged from Japan like a quiet storm, cerebral, haunting, visually breathtaking. It's set in a hyper-connected future where cybernetic enhancement is the norm and the line between human and machine is razor thin and identity floats in a sea of data. We follow Major Motoko Kusanagi, a government cyber agent with a fully synthetic body, a ghost in a mechanical shell. Her mission is to track a mysterious hacker known as the Puppet Master, who doesn't just steal information, he rewrites minds. But as the chase unfolds, the Major begins to question everything, her memories, her consciousness, even her very soul. Is she still human, or is she just a computer program who dreams of being real? Ghost in the Shell is cyberpunk at its most philosophical, not just neon signs and chrome limbs, but deep reflections on self, memory, and evolution. Its visuals are iconic. Rain-slick cities, glowing code, mirrored skyscrapers, and eerie silence between gunfire and ghosts. It didn't just influence anime, it shaped modern sci-fi, inspiring very heavily The Matrix, Ex Machina, and countless others. But Ghost in the Shell isn't about action. It's about awakening and the terrifying, beautiful moment when a machine begins to wonder, what am I? I mean, you only just have to look at the opening credits to this film to realise how massively influential it is, particularly to The Matrix. That green and black is iconic. Highly recommended. It was also followed up by a series of sequels. Man, there was something in the air in 1995, wasn't there? Now we have Strange Days. This was directed by Catherine Bigelow and is a noir-drenched cyberpunk thriller set in the final chaotic hours of the near-future date of 1999. The world teeters on the edge not just of a new millennium, but of total collapse. Riots rage in the streets, corruption oozes from every sidewalk crack, and in the shadows, people are escaping reality with squids, illegal recordings of real human experiences, played directly into the brain. Here we meet Lenny Nero, a former cop turned black market peddler of other people's memories. He's charming, broken, and obsessed with his past. But when a disturbing clip surfaces, one that could expose a political murder, Lenny is thrust into a conspiracy that cuts straight through the rot at society's core. This is cyberpunk without flying cars. It's dirty, immediate, and has a reality to it. Technology isn't sleek, it's invasive. Power doesn't glow, it hides behind riot shields. And the question isn't what's human, it's who's being erased. Strange Days captures cyberpunk's nervous system, tech as a drug, memory as a commodity, and truth as something too dangerous to be allowed. It's a film that feels like surveillance culture. It sweats with paranoia. Sadly, it bombed at the box office, but in hindsight, it saw the 21st century coming. And it knew it wasn't going to be pretty. When The Matrix dropped in 1999, it didn't just redefine sci-fi. It kicked down the door in slow motion, bullets frozen in mid-air. Written and directed by the Wachowskis, the film fused cyberpunk philosophy, anime action, hacker culture, and postmodern paranoia in a sleek, mind-bending package. At its core is Keanu Reeves as Thomas Anderson, a disillusioned programmer by day and a hacker named Neo by night. When he follows a mysterious message, what is the Matrix? He is pulled into a hidden war between humans and machines and awakens to a horrifying truth. The world he knows is a simulation. Reality has been hijacked and the human race is enslaved in pods by intelligent machines. Sorry, that might be a spoiler. Guided by the enigmatic Morpheus and the razor-sharp Trinity, Neo learns that he may be the One, the anomaly meant to break the system from within. The Matrix is pure cyberpunk, a crumbling real world ruled by AI, consciousness uploaded and weaponized, rebels operating outside the system. It's Ghost in the Shell meets Neuromancer, meets Kung Fu movies, with black trench coats and questions like, what is real and can you free your mind? Visually iconic, philosophically rich and packed with action that still thrills all these decades later, The Matrix became representative of a generation, revealing not just a story, but a worldview. And in doing so, it became the defining cyberpunk film of its time. If it weren't for The Matrix, I doubt we would have Minority Report from 2002. This film was directed by Steven Spielberg and is a sleek, haunting vision of a near-future Justice Department, adapted from a story by Philip K. Dick, the godfather of paranoid science fiction, and the author of the book that became Blade Runner. It's set in Washington, DC in the year 2054. The film follows John Anderton, a top cop in the elite pre-crime unit, a task force that uses psychic precogs to predict and prevent murders before they happen. It's a dream of a crime-free future until the system predicts he will commit a murder. What follows is a tightly wound thriller as Anderton goes on the run to uncover the truth behind the system he once believed in. The film explores familiar cyberpunk territory, surveillance states, loss of free will, data-driven lives, and the terrifying illusion of choice. The world of Minority Report is pristine on the surface, all slick interfaces and retinal scans, but underneath lies manipulation, exploitation, and the corruption of technology by those in power. Its aesthetic blends high-tech gloss with noir shadows, gesture-controlled computers, spider drones, personalised ads that follow your gaze, all chillingly prescient in today's algorithmic age. Minority Report isn't set in a dystopian wasteland, it's a clean corporate future where dystopia wears a smile, and that's what makes it so cyberpunk. Not the presence of tech, but the erosion of humanity beneath it. And now here's something that couldn't be more different than Minority Report, Children of Men from 2006. It's not a traditional cyberpunk movie, there are no glowing cities, no jacked-in hackers, but its soul is cyberpunk to the core. It's a dystopian future stripped of glamour, where the world has stopped dreaming. It's set in 2027, and humanity is facing extinction, because for nearly 2 decades, no child anywhere on Earth has been born. Governments have collapsed, borders have closed, and Britain has become a fortress, a fascist state clinging to order through barbed wire and propaganda. Refugees are caged like animals. How prophetic. Terrorism is everywhere. Hope is nowhere. Enter Theo, a delusioned bureaucrat dragged back into the chaos when he's asked to help a young refugee woman, who is, miraculously, pregnant. What follows is a harrowing journey through a collapsing society shot with brutal realism and breathtaking long takes. There are no flashy gadgets, just decay, drones, and a future that looks frighteningly like our present. It's a cyberpunk without the chrome, where high-tech is hidden in systems of surveillance, militarization, and dehumanization. And therefore, it is the heart of cyberpunk. The flicker of humanity in a world gone cold. And in that flicker, perhaps the most important thing of all, hope. Although it wasn't directed by a British person, Children of Men feels like a very British film, and I highly, highly recommend it. American in appearance, but British by birth, Dredd from 2012 kicks down a cinematic door with a boot full of grit and a jaw carved in concrete. Directed by Pete Travis with Carl Urban under the iconic helmet, the film is a lean, mean adaptation of the Judge Dredd comics and a stripped-back masterpiece of urban cyberpunk. Set in Megacity 1, a decaying, sprawling metropolis where 800 million people live in violence and squalor, the only thing standing between chaos and total collapse are the judges, law enforcers with the power to arrest, sentence, and occasionally execute. Judge Dredd is a stoic, merciless man, assigned to evaluate a rookie psychic Anderson on her first day. But when a routine call strands them in a 200-story tower ruled by the drug lord Marmar, the mission becomes survival, one floor at a time. Alita Battle Angel from 2019. Produced by James Cameron and directed by Robert Rodriguez, Alita Battle Angel brought the gritty glow of cyberpunk anime to the big screen. Set in the sprawling scrapyard slums of Iron City, the film follows Alita, a mysterious cyborg found in a junk heap and rebuilt by the kindly Dr. Ido. She remembers nothing, but she feels like she could be a warrior. As she uncovers her past, Alita finds herself caught between street-level survival and a system rigged from above, literally. Floating high above the city is Zalem, a utopia for the elite, never seen, never touched. Down below, violence, corruption, cybernetic gladiators, and brutal class divides. Visually, Alita is textbook cyberpunk, neon signs, cybernetic limbs, corporations with godlike power, and cities that run on desperation. But what sets it apart is its heart. Alita isn't just surviving the system, she's fighting it with clarity, compassion, and occasionally very sharp arms. It's a story of self-discovery in a world where identity is manufactured and bodies are rebuilt. Alita asks, if you were designed to kill, can you choose to protect instead? Slick, sincere, and unafraid to wear its manga roots on its sleeve, Alita Battle Angel is cyberpunk with soul, a tale of rebellion, memory, and one girl's fight to rise above the scrapyard. Alita did not do terribly well at the cinema, but I personally think it's a lovely film and well worth seeing. And here's our final film of the list, and our final animated film too, Mars Express, released in 2023. This is a French film that hits like a noir-drenched fever dream on the red sands of the future. Set in a colonised Mars where humans and sentient androids live in uneasy tension, it follows a grizzled private detective and her android partner as they investigate the disappearance of a young student and stumble into a conspiracy that could shake the fragile foundations of Martian society. This is Cyberpunk stripped down and distilled. All the key ingredients are here: high-tech, low-trust world, questions of identity and consciousness, megacities choked in corporate shadow, and artificial beings asking whether their dreams are their own. It's also a stunning looking film, a fusion of hand-drawn animation and digital precision, evoking the best of Ghost in the Shell and Blade Runner, with a uniquely European flair. It's grimy and beautiful and tense and introspective. But underneath all that is a story about memory, autonomy, and the slippery border between synthetic and organic life. It doesn't ask whether androids can think, it wonders what happens when they're better at being human than we are. It's a modern cyberpunk gem and a future classic, and proof the genre still has new corners of the future left to explore. Well, if you made it all the way to the end of my 14 cyberpunk movies list, I hope you enjoyed it. I now have a suggestion of a few other films that you can watch in a similar vein. From 1989, there's Tetsuo, the Iron Man, which is a disturbing Japanese industrial horror film with a cyberpunk heart. Body horror meets technology. Brazil from 1985 is Terry Gilliam's bureaucratic dystopia. Less neon and more Kafka, soaked in paranoia and technological oppression. Videodrome, a body horror film from David Cronenberg. A fleshy techno nightmare from 1983. Long live the new flesh. Upgrade from 2018, a revenge thriller about a man implanted with an experimental AI chip. Violent, stylish and brutally efficient, a lovely piece of modern cyberpunk. Elysium from 2013. Earth is the cyberpunk underclass while the rich live in orbital paradise. Gritty and political. You could also watch District 9, a film about alien apartheid with tech body horror and a bureaucratic corruption. Not necessarily 100% cyberpunk, but thematically very close. There are also several episodes of Black Mirror, which is, again, technically not a film, but each episode is like a little sort of mini-film, so I think it counts. The most appropriate episodes are White Christmas, Playtest, and Metalhead. Thanks again, and I'll see you the next time I put out a video. Bye.